All right, there we go. How you doing, everybody? I hope you are well tonight. My name is Pamela, and I'm with Business Concepts Accelerated. So excited that I had to go find the most vibrant thing in my closet in honor of tonight's conversation. I'm that excited about it. So I hope that you have opportunity to not only join, but stay and listen to the exchange between me and my upcoming guests. I'm welcoming a couple tonight who with a topic that truly intrigues me. And tonight we're asking the question, why wouldn't life be better in Africa? So I want to jump into this and I want to get my everything proper that I need. And then I will get started, everybody. But again, I wanted to share a little bit about who I am and Business Concepts Accelerator, which is my company, so that you know exactly who you're listening to. But my company, Business Concepts Accelerated, is one where we accelerate your business, and I'm always super passionate to support others in business. That's what we do. I am a CEO Support Consultant. And I work with high-powered solopreneurs as a strategic advocate on their side of the table at a CEO level. And so I support their vision, big visions on big venture deals. And I help keep all sides accountable on behalf of my client to help ensure the deal flows. I am a deal flow facilitator. So that is what I do there as well. Under BCA day-to-day, which is what this is, the consultancy is where that lies. But I also work with startups in that if you have a go-to-market strategy, if you need that, if you're launching a new book, a new product, a new service, a new coaching business, whatever it is, there's a strategy that makes sense to ensure that you get the return on your marketing dollars that you want to spend, but even more so the strategy, the plan A, the plan B, the plan, and I like to work them all. So I take your information, I research your market and where they live, where they play, and we come up with a strategy that makes sense and fits your personality, and one that is, that will, you know, we can go to market and launch. So that's another thing I do. My guests will be joining me in about 4 minutes, so hang in there. The last thing I wanted to share just before they join is that at the end of the broadcast, I'm going to have an offer for you. All of my business owners, I'm a B2B business. We support CEOs, that's what we do. And so we have a upcoming network platform that is going to soon launch. And I'd love for you, the offer at the end will be to list your company with us at bcab2blive.com. And this will be for a limited time offer to the first 10,000 founding beta members to list your company. No charge, of course, just list, and you will be a beta tester for our upcoming platform. So I hope that you stick around and that you catch the offer at the end where I explain a little bit more about that. So that is who we are and what we do. And again, tonight's topic in regards to why wouldn't life be better living in Africa is one that's near and dear to me. This broadcast and our company is one who, and this broadcast, actually, our YouTube channel is all about talking to CEOs who are motivated to do business globally. So if that is you, then please do reach out. Let us know that you may be interested in a spotlight with as a CEO, and see how we can, let people know more about you, and let's do business. Across the waters. My network really primarily centers around marketing, branding, public relations, and strategy being capital, but my network overall. I am a connector. And so with that, I can pretty much on all parts, I won't say all, I'll say most parts, I'll say many, 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 many parts of Africa, there are network connections through my network and my circle of influencers. And so with that, if you're interested in doing business with certain parts, then I would love to help be the bridge of conducting business, real business. So that's what we're here to do. And tonight's topic supports that as well. I'm so excited when I learned the story of Bill and Dacia, who are joining me tonight. And, the fact that they wanted to jump off of the hamster wheel. They have a release date, and we're going to learn all about that and why it is. And again, my passion is that we hope to spark more conversations in households, amongst, business, watering holes and at the bar. So I want to just let you know that I really want that conversation to be one that we do continue. And I see my guests are connecting and joining in right on time. Thank you so much. They are logging in as we speak. Hello, hello. Hi, Dale. Hi, Dacia.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi. How are you all this evening?
We're good. We're well, thank you.
Good. Well, again, happy to have you to join me. I was saying earlier as I was introducing myself that I went and I found the most vibrant thing I could find in my closet just to kind of celebrate the conversation of what we're having and the beauty of Africa overall. So I had to go dig and find something appropriate.
Okay. We appreciate that.
Yes. So thank you again for being here. My platform, BCA B2B Live, is one where I talk with CEOs and companies and people who are interested to bridge the gap and also to do business globally. And with that, I'd love you to share a little bit more about, from each of you, your backgrounds and how you've established yourself in the United States of America and really your connection to Africa. I'd love to start there. Thank you.
Sure, I guess I'll start. I was born in Georgetown, Guyana, which is in South America. Mm-hmm. And my family migrated to the United States when I was about 8 years old. I came with my parents and my 2 other siblings. Pretty much growing up in the US, we were, towards the path of education was number one. So we all were able to, go through college and complete master's programs as well. And I became a pharmacist in 1996. I've been practicing pharmacy for about 26 years now. And I also enjoy, dealing with patients. And as you know, I'm also a diabetes educator. So that was a passion that I, kind of adopted a little bit later on in life and, helping people with diabetes, specifically, African Americans with diabetes and helping them to navigate that pathway to better health. And right now we're living in Brooklyn and I'm officially off the wheel as of last week. So I'm very happy.
Congratulations.
So I'm very happy about that. So,
yes.
Yeah. Me, I was born and raised here in New York City. Mm-hmm. My family is from the South, Alabama. I went to undergraduate school in Connecticut, graduate school here in the city. My background is finance, worked on Wall Street, and I've been running my own investment firm since, I think for almost 34 years now, focused on, creating Black wealth. So that's just a little bit about me.
Love it. Just before I go to that next question, Dacia, I'd love to know, what are you going to do now that you've been released, like between now and your date when you guys actually move?
Well, between now and when we move, I'm meeting a lot of family, friends that I may not see for a while. So I'm using that to kind of like strengthen my connections. Also, we have a lot of packing to do and organizing to do, and we have to figure out what we're going to do as far as, getting things on the other side. So I'm researching our area, our community and beyond to really see how we can, furnish our place, just the simple things that, we have to do for day-to-day living.
Gotcha. Yeah, makes
Also,
perfect sense. Yes.
it's an interesting fun fact to know that since she's been off the wheel, I've never slept better or felt healthier because I would get up early just because of her super early schedule.
Oh my goodness.
So now that she doesn't get up, I
Right.
sleep an hour and a half later, and it's the best I felt in 10 years.
Oh, what a win-win, I tell you.
True story.
And when will you officially be off the wheel of,
And
because you're taking your wheel with you, right?
I'm taking the best parts of a wheel with me
Yes.
and bringing some parts to create a healthier wheel. Because, you know, when the wheel becomes less obligatory and filled more so with purpose, it's okay to be active and not on the couch and dead. But when you move without purpose, when you move only to pay bills and you can't think and breathe, that's unhealthy. So I like to work on things, so I have a lot of things planned.
Absolutely. I know that you have a plan, you know, upon arrival, and, you know, will be set off, you know, from the onset, even before you arrive. So I know things are in motion. So all good. So I really wanted to just kind of jump right into, I know that the whole point of what we're talking about tonight is, you know, why not consider life in Ghana? And I'd like to know, since you guys are actually doing it, start by asking your reactions to some of the current state of being Black in America.
Well, I guess for me, it's been uncertain. You know, sometimes it's uncertain. It's also like unpredictable. So with the recent laws that are changing right in front of our eyes, you know, Roe v. Wade laws, gun rights laws, we don't really know what our future is going to hold for us. And I see these laws as being something that's really going to, we're not going to be as protected as we felt we were. And I guess I'm a little afraid of that, what can come, because this is just the beginning of the change. And there's going to be more things that are going to come along. And before it gets to that point, for my own peace of mind, you know, Ghana, Africa, somewhere else was going to be the choice. And you had asked earlier why Ghana. We didn't really answer it because it was just kind of like in my mind. It actually started with me. And we just gravitated to that country and just really wanted to learn more. So we just said, you know, this is a time for us. Let's just, before it gets to a point where we are, you know, not feeling safe or as safe as we used to be, I would say like maybe 10 years ago. Let's do it now. Yeah.
For me, it's like, it's a two-part examination. I've been privileged enough to live in what I call a white collar bubble my whole working career, self-employed. So certain things I've been shielded from. But for the other 99% of Black Americans, many of them my clients, America is becoming unsustainable. People living paycheck to paycheck, rents are at all-time highs. Everyone being so afraid if they can afford healthcare or not, while healthcare companies earn record profits every quarter. The prison industrial complex, the student debt industrial complex, all of these things are weighing on the typical, the average, the working class Black American. And so that's what I think about when I think about being Black in America. We've been very fortunate, blessed, working hard, and we've been shielded from certain things, but, you know, we're aware of, you know, everyone doesn't have that experience.
Right, that's right.
For sure.
Really unfortunate. Yeah. And, you know, I don't know if I go into this question or not, but so everyone doesn't have that experience. But do you think for one side to see the variance of the plight of the Black American? Do you think we can go beyond that and just see human at all? Like, is it possible? Do you see what I'm saying? Like
I don't know.
the humanality of it versus skin color.
Well, I think that there's some ways that you can examine things beyond race color.
Yeah.
But I tend to process everything through the lens of race because it's what we see all the time when we wake up. It's like you wake up and you see X bank isn't lending to a certain group because of their race, or X Fortune 500 company was pretending to interview certain candidates, but really wasn't because of their race. Every time you wake up and you see a group being marginalized, it's typically a certain colored group. So I tend to process most things through race because that's just the reality of life.
That's the reality. Yeah.
I would agree with that.
Okay. Thank you. Well, I believe, and no, I know that as a people, we can love everybody. You know, America was built on the backs of Black people in the most horrible of ways. As we stand, and as you know, I stand on those same shoulders. You know, and we stand on those same shoulders. So what do you say to Black people? And I'm going to say really in two ways. You know, what do you say to Black people who only believe, and to those who still believe in the promise of what America is supposed to be?
I wouldn't judge them. Mm-hmm. And I also wouldn't force them to, come to a realization that we've come to. Because I'm sure there's people 15, 20 years ago saying, oh, we're late. You're only now finding this out. You're really now understanding. So I think everyone has to kind of go in their own time. And we never try to push our agenda to move to anyone. We just tell them this is our experience and this is what we've learned. This is what we've seen. This is what we've experienced. And just from that conversation, a lot of people are interested and excited and want to know more. So I think that everybody in their own time, in their own space, they have to decide what information they want to let in, because some people are not able to handle all of the information. I haven't been able to handle a lot of the information on the news for the last couple of months. Mm-hmm. And it has really affected me, but everybody reacts differently. Everybody decides what they want to watch on TV, what social media platform they want to listen to or look at. So we all have to kind of filter to our best of our sensibilities. So I would say that if they're not ready, if they don't even want to take it in, then it's their choice and it's in their own time. But there's going to be something at some point that's going to kind of like trigger that desire to know more, for sure.
I support what other people believe in, and I never want to disparage the beliefs of others. But if you're asking my opinion, it doesn't make sense, because the country was founded by white men of means. There were no women at the table. There were no Black people at the table. And from that point until today, people in power have done everything that they can to hold on to that power, not want to share the power. That's just the reality of the country. And so while the commercial of America, the promise of America, it was a good commercial, but I'm a pragmatic person. And to me, this experiment of democracy at a point where it looks like it could either succeed or not pan out, to me, it's unsustainable and it's not panning out, in my opinion. And so I think as Black Americans, we all have to make the best decisions for our families, where we want to fight or rebuild, et cetera. But I think that at minimum, you have to see you're landscaping your environment for what it is.
Mhm. You're so right. And, you know, I tell you, I think the closer things get to your own household, which is happening, seeming to happen more and more. I hate that it is. It doesn't have to continue if Black Americans, complacent white Americans who don't know what to do, which way to go, how to help, how to not, you know, do I go, you know, it's just amazing that it is the way it is. But is this the America that they want, that we want? Is it the America that anyone wants? And so I think if people could really ask these questions, and then maybe they could, you know, figure out how to do something or be about something, you know, I don't know. But let's talk about the synonym of being on the hamster wheel of America. And if there was a last straw that, you know, or a trend of what was happening in America that made you want to jump off the hamster wheel.
Well, I guess I would say, the first part of your question was, what does it mean to be on the wheel? And I think Dale kind of talked about it a little bit, and we can kind of mirror the same answer.
Yes.
But for me, it was just not feeling that you can get off. Like it was always a next thing and a next thing that you either had to do, to accomplish, to achieve, to look good in someone else's eyes, to be an example to others. And it was just like a constant thing. And for me, getting off the wheel last week, it was actually because I chose me. Like I actually was not supposed to get off until another couple of weeks, but something in me said, you know what, this is the time, because you're always trying to please others. You're always trying to do more and take the extra step. And I said, you know what, this time it's going to be about just this person here and this person over here. And that's all that matters. And it was not an easy decision. It was I think it was a weekend discussion that we had about it.
Okay.
But I made that decision and I just jumped off. So the other reason that, and the second part of your question was there a breaking point?
Mm-hmm.
I think being on the wheel was not like a breaking point, because you don't really see it when you're on it. Sometimes you don't see it till you really get off. But I think it was the things that was also going around at the same time you're on the wheel. You're on the wheel, you're working, you're trying to get to work. You're worried about, as soon as I leave this door, I have to get on the train. You know, I take the train to work. It's a very dangerous train system in New York City right now. Then when you get off the train, I have to walk like about, 7 minutes or so, and you have to watch your back. Who's in front of you, who's in back of you? Is this car going to run up on the sidewalk? Am I making sure I'm stopping at the light, making sure? So your senses are on hyperdrive all the time. And I think between those sensibilities, the environment around you, the negative, the mass shootings, the gun carrying laws, and just everything swirling around together, I felt the best place for me to be before I get over to Africa, over to Ghana, was to be in my apartment and not really go anywhere, because I feel safe in here.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was a stressful time.
Yeah.
It was a stressful time. Even when I go out and I'm home, he's like, where are you going? Let me know where you're going to be, because you just never know what's going to happen when you leave here. We just had someone push down the subway station and the train station right downstairs. And it's so scary. That could have been me, because they bumped into someone. Like, I don't want to be in an environment.
Actually stabbed.
They were stabbed. They were stabbed.
Oh,
and he's in a coma. He lost his fingers, were cut off. And, just from bumping into someone. And that's not the environment that I feel comfortable in. And so all of those things that surround, our life is really what kind of pushed us to move. But it wasn't like I don't want to use the word pushed, but because we're talking about the train, but that was part of the reason that kind of like nudged us towards, let's just do this. Let's just do this now. Why wait? Why delay it any longer?
I love it.
The wheel, I think by most people's definition, is the state of being where, like the hamster, you're running in place, you're exhausted, you're distracted, you don't feel like you're making any headway, you don't have a moment to stop and think, and you question the purpose of what is this all for? Meanwhile, things are more expensive. Meanwhile, the political climate is getting uglier, and so that's the wheel. And so getting off of the wheel is just asking the question of why not consider something different. And so for me, there have been cracks in America all along, some of which I mentioned before: people living paycheck to paycheck, financial uncertainty, etc. And no one thing will be the thing, but in aggregation, they become a thing. So the thing that did it for me, echoing a little bit about what Dacia said, was for me was the proliferation of guns and the roles that they play in things that give me stress in life. So guns play a role in mass shootings. It used to be a thing where mass shootings would happen in all of those other states, and now they've made their way to New York and Brooklyn. Mm-hmm. And then the proliferation of guns in robberies and gang wars. So it's tough to try to thrive when you're worried about basic public safety. Yes. And then when you marry that with the political climate where 50% of a certain group in America wants another group to go back to their countries, mm-hmm. when those people are agitated, radicalized, and then you marry that with guns, it's a very combustible situation. So that's what it was for me. Just like a lot of little cracks, and then it took just one special crack where mm-hmm. you said, okay, it's time.
Wow. Well, I do applaud you both, of course, for making this choice and really for sharing your story. And as I understand, it's not just the two of you off the wheel community of Black American thinking, the way that you guys are talking, planning this transition or final move to Africa, Ghana, wherever it might be. So please share a little bit more about your community support and, some of the conversations you have with your off the wheel community.
Well, it's a new community. It's a growing community. Mm-hmm. It came about when Dacia had the idea for us to do a YouTube channel in February. Mm-hmm. And we were so surprised at the emotions that we were invoking from people watching. Not young Gen Zers or millennials, but grown adults, couples, families who said, we've never reached out to anyone on social media and your story compels us to do so. And mm-hmm. we jump on Zooms and so it became very clear that there's a lot of these conversations happening around dinner tables across America in silos. People are talking about moving, in the privacy of their home. And so when you see someone else on YouTube talking about it, you're like, I can't believe it. And so we're putting together a group of like-minded individuals from America moving to Ghana who want to come with good intentions. We don't come to exploit or, try to just earn money for the sake of it. But we're looking to, see how we can take advantage of the strength of the US dollar as a collective group, where you might return an investment to your investors, but more importantly, or just as importantly, see how you can benefit the local neighborhood that you're in. And so we're looking to build, we're looking to collaborate, we're looking to partner. And those are the kind of people that we want to be around, and those are the kind of people we're attracting.
Absolutely. Beautiful. That's part of our connection with the works that we're doing in Ghana as well. And I am excited, to be a part of your community and continue the collaborations along the way. But of the, what I want to move to now is just talking about where you're going. Enough about where you are and where you're where you're leaving. I want to know where you're going. So of the 54, states of Africa, continent countries, why is it, Ghana, the gateway, I guess, to Africa for you? What are your inspirations that led you to select this location as your new home? And will you keep dual citizenship going back and forth and that type of thing?
Well, the why Ghana discussion happened. I've always, for some reason, had Ghana in the back of my mind. And this was over 15 years ago before we met. And I had always, for some reason, just had that particular country. I didn't know why. I didn't know anything about Ghana. And then within the last couple of years, we heard about the year of return, that kind of sparked a little interest. After that, I just started to, go on YouTube and just start looking at different people who were in Ghana, who live in Ghana, who transitioned to Ghana. And it just seemed like a place that would be welcoming, and they were telling you to come home. So I just felt like that draw. And we're practical people. So, we go with the heart, but we go with our head first. We're like, okay, well, how can we actually make this work? And Ghana, when we decided to go last year, September, we went with an itinerary, not of tourist attractions. I didn't see one tourist attraction. We went with the intent of, okay, let's look at places we can live. Let's see the most expensive to the least expensive, a neighborhood with roads, without roads, with generators, without generators.
Right.
What can we deal with? What can we afford? What kind of neighborhood do we want to be in? Do we want to be in the city like we are now, or in the outskirts where we are now? And I think we went supermarket shopping. We went to so many things that were just not tourist-like, because we really wanted to see what it would be like to live there. We went to one of the biggest markets there, and it was an interesting experience. So what we did was, after we went there, literally, I think on day three or day 4, we said, oh yeah, let's come here. We love it.
Wow.
And we made a 10-year plan, and it dwindled down to
every weekend we spoke
11 months.
Every weekend we took a year off the 10-year plan.
So we made it a less than 1 year plan, and we're just like really happy with the decision. So why Ghana? It called us. We're answering. We're coming. We loved Ghana, and we hope to spend the rest of our time there. We will, hopefully, we're wanting to get dual citizenship actually to Ghana. That's our hope.
Yeah, I'm not interested in renouncing my American citizenship.
Sure.
I joke with Dacia. I said, how crazy would it be if a bunch of Americans like us came over, and so many of us came over, but were able to still vote in America so much that our voting bloc became so important that a presidential candidate would have to make a campaign stop in Ghana. That I'd like to see. But yeah, followed wife's lead on Ghana. Open to even, being courted by other countries once we get there. But Ghana's our first stop. It might be our last stop. It might not be our last stop.
Okay.
But Africa's the destination. Ghana is the present.
Yeah.
Beautiful. All right. So thank you so much for that. That was awesome. So go ahead. Okay. Making sure. So next question, stolen generations and the history of Indigenous heroes and legends prior to colonized Black people should lead to deeper conversations. I hope that was understandable. In that all of this awareness and enlightenment that's out there, do you foresee more of these conversations? I mean, more of these conversations happening in the Black household is my question, basically. But, just with our stolen generations, the history of our people and all that we can think about and all that we can talk about, do you think it's, do you foresee more of these conversations happening in Black American households?
I would definitely say I'm actually seeing it happen.
Same here.
With my father, because my father came here, he brought us here, I forget, 30 something years ago. And we never had books, like African-American books specifically, books about Harriet Tubman or anything like Frederick Douglass, no types of books.
Okay.
But I see now with his grandchildren, he's very much focused on buying those types of books to let them be proud of who they are. And I saw that change because it was never given to us. In their time, they were busy, they're working, trying to put food on our table and making sure we get to, go to school, go to college. So they didn't really have time to really sit, think, and absorb, I guess, what was going on around them. And they didn't go to school here. So to see that now being an emphasis to my nephews, his grandchildren, my nephews, it's really enlightening because I'm seeing him, can you get this book on Amazon for me because it talks about the Underground Railroad, or can you buy this book or this comic book that focuses on Black people? And I'm seeing him doing that with his grandchildren. So I feel like it's going to come around and it's going to change and it's going to cause that conversation, and we're going to have to start that conversation earlier. And when you first asked the question, I was thinking about it. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm actually seeing it right now play out before my eyes. So it's going to happen because the culture and everything that's going on around us is going to warrant it, because we have to find ways to really explain it to the younger generation so they understand what the history was, so they can be proud of where they are now, and so that they can pass it on even earlier than my father did, pass it on to their children. So the conversation is going to happen. It's just, it's going to take a little bit. This is going to take a little bit of time, but it's definitely going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if we didn't know before, we do know now that oppressors don't want us to learn about our true history. When a state that I would never live in, a state that wants to secede from America and who wants to repeal the 1965 Voting Rights Act, when a state like that has such heavy influence in the textbooks that the rest of America, the children of America, have to read in school, then it becomes mandatory for Black Americans to learn the other 99% of our history. And sometimes it's simultaneously prideful and embarrassing to be learning new things about our history at such an old age, things that we should have learned before 15, 16, 17. So I think that Blacks have to wear this as a badge of honor. All the things we went through, all the information that was withheld, all the misinformation fed to us, and still, in spite of, we're here still thriving. So I'm happy that we're having these conversations, and I'm happy that technology is playing its part in getting these stories. We're watching TV, another series about Black history. It's so inspiring, where Black filmmakers are bringing our stories to the forefront. And so I'm optimistic about that part of Black America, learning about ourselves.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that. And I am too. I do hear and I see more conversations happening amongst, in professional circles and things of that nature. And so it's kind of a hot topic. And even amongst my Caucasian friends, I do see, I love having that conversation with them. I do, because I think that, it has to, I love what you said about your grandfather or your father, and that, just teaching reading those books, and ensuring that our kids have those stories at a younger age. And then I love what you said in regards to honor, wear it, because there's nothing we can do but continue to look at the bright future that we can have together, Black Americans, African Americans, and our Black brothers and sisters of Africa. All of the diaspora should figure out what it is that they, their opinions on this topic, and just continue the conversation. So I appreciate that. I saw that there were about 50 Indigenous languages throughout Ghana, with 11 being taught in schools. With this transformative move and new life, it looks like you may be forever learners as you become more and more part of the fabric of the people of Ghana. So I know that the language English is spoken as well, but to get into the fabric, I just would love to hear what your thoughts are there.
Well, I'm in the process of learning Tree, which is the most prominent language. It's a little difficult. The alphabet is missing some of the letters we're used to. The pronunciation's a little bit different. But on our first trip to Ghana, I kind of like learned a lot of the local, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, hello, thank you, just so I can show like I'm, willing to assimilate. So I've since then forgotten a lot because I didn't stick with it. But again, since I'm off the wheel, that's kind of my project now, is really getting back into learning the language, because I'm going to be there and I want to show that respect, know how to greet the elders, know how to answer. And I want to make sure that, they see that I appreciate being there and that I want to be there. And I believe with the citizenship requirement, you have to know, I don't know the extent of the language, but you need to know one of the languages. So I feel it's my duty also just to learn, because I'm on that soil.
What's also interesting is, once upon a time here in America, in particular for families of means, it would be ahead of the curve to have your child learn German or Chinese. And I would like, and I think I'm seeing, where the new trend, and hopefully it's not a trend, it'll just be a direction, because China is not Africa's future or Black people's future. Africa is. So I'd like to see Black Americans pivot and consider replacing German, French, Spanish with an African language, or at minimum add it to the rotation. So
love that. Well, I hope that this conversation does at least spark that conversation and that consideration in more and more households. Again, I'm seeing the same trend, and I with my first trip to Africa, with all the stars aligning, I hope will be this September. Now, when is your release date? When are you guys planning to officially make that move?
September 1.
Oh, the 1st of September.
Yeah, September 1.
Well, if all the stars align, perhaps I'll see you there.
We'll have you over for dinner.
Yes, I love that.
For sure.
It's going to be a packed house because a lot of people are coming over in those first 2 weeks. So
okay,
you won't be alone.
So people are planning their trips because you're there. Now they have somebody.
We've had so many families. Well, interesting enough, we've had a surprising number of Ghanaian Americans who are building to move back. Families, married couples with big families, children, etc., reach out to us. And it became so much we had to start a separate Google Calendar for all of our meetups. So you'll meet some very interesting people when you come over.
All right, well, you mentioned earlier about Beyond the Return being an initiative by the government of Ghana to not only promote tourism and homecoming of Africans and Ghanaians in the diaspora, to come home, but also to foster economic relations and investments from the diaspora in Africa and Ghana and beyond. So as awareness continues, do you think the broad scale of Black Americans, not just in your circle of influence, but the broad scale, all levels, can open their minds to coming home and accepting to build together as one people? If there's a gateway, if there's a way to do it, and that's part of what my plight is and what I'm, passionate about, as well as is making it be an easy choice and giving you the path. And I know that's what you guys are doing as well. All economic levels, not just our circles of influence, but, if we made it available and a possibility, I hope people can open their mind to it. To actually going.
Yeah. So, we talk about this often, from what we see, we think that first wave of people who went back and are going back did so on a more spiritual level,
Okay.
And there's only so many of those Black Americans who are going back on that particular bandwidth. And then you had another group that followed them that is kind of like where we're kind of falling into, where it's, we talk about it on our channel, where we have done what we can do here in America in our respective industries. I would say we're at the top of our industries, and we feel really excited about playing for another Team Africa.
Mm-hmm.
And these are some of our best years we have. We're healthy, we have a little capital saved, and we have good intentions. And so we believe that that's going to go from a trickle to a stream to a flood and eventually a tsunami of people like us,
Mm-hmm.
who are coming back. And the more of us that go and lay the groundwork, the easier it will be for people to come after, the more familiar it will be for people to come after. Maybe we'll even have job opportunities or other opportunities for people to come after. So you need a couple of people to go, a couple of people that they say, you're crazy. You need a lot of those people to go at first,
Mm-hmm.
for things to really catch on, and then the mainstream wave happens.
Right.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, I know you say your release date is September 1st. What are you most looking forward to in Ghana? The people, the culture, the land. What are you
She's
most
looking forward to food. So let's just start there.
Learning to cook?
No.
To eat.
To eat out. To go
To
eat.
eat.
Yeah, I like to really just sample, explore, and just taste the culture, how they, I don't know. It's just I have an attraction to food.
Exciting.
How they prepare the food,
Mm-hmm.
how they spice just everything. I can't even put it into words.
Yeah.
But I would say number one would be definitely, number one is really going to our home, right? Because this will be the first home we've purchased together. So that would be probably the number one. Number two would be the food. And I guess number three would be preparing our home again, just to welcome everybody that has interest in coming to Ghana, and making them feel comfortable, and learning the landscape. I mean, the landscape, we're in a very small sliver of Ghana, and there's so much left to explore. Mm-hmm. That I guess that would be my number 3 or 4, would be just exploring exploring the country, and eventually in a few years exploring the continent as well, because there's just so much to see, to do. Ghana is not Accra, as they keep saying. I know we're in Accra, we're in greater Accra, so we're kind of outside, but we're still kind of in that populated area.
It would be like saying that New York is Times Square.
Right.
And no one we know hangs out at Times Square.
Right. exactly.
Okay.
Right.
So we want to be, in the country, in the mountains, get really to see the real flavor of Ghana. So, I mean, there's just so much. I can't even start to count the amount of things that I'm actually looking forward to. And of course, the weather is nice. No winter. I'm looking forward to that for sure.
Wow.
So I'm just gonna skip over all of the obvious fun things that I'm gonna experience, some of what she just said. But if I have to be honest, the thing that I'm gonna be most excited about is marshaling, nurturing, and focusing the increased interest of Black Americans and the conscious capital that they bring, and how can we collectively, here in America, the conscious among us are always trying to shop Black whatever we can. Sometimes it's not always easy, but I'm most excited about finding the ways that collectively how our Black capital with good intentions can do great things where it's most needed. And so, whether it's 10 people in our group or 10,000, we're gonna, do the best we can with what we have.
But I'm gonna help him relax too.
Well, he says he's living his best life right now, so I know it's going to be much, much more enriched once you actually get there. My goodness.
Yes.
I know somewhere in here, I'm going to just ask in regards to, your plan of, your expertise being, I know that you guys together are advocates of Black wealth versus poverty, Black health versus diabetes. We talked about that a little bit earlier. So just talk about, sewing the fabric of who you guys are and your expertise into Ghana. Once you get there, I know you're going to pick that up in some ways, and I know you're going to continue to live your passions. Do you want to talk to that just a little bit once you get there?
Yeah, well, as I said before, my background is finance, wealth. Dacia's background in industries and health. And especially when you get older, you learn really fast that one without the other is pointless. If you've got a lot of money and you're unhealthy, it doesn't mean anything. And no one wants to be poor and live to be 120 as a poor person. So they need to be intertwined. And so, so we, along with other Black Americans, come with an expertise. We come with industry knowledge. We come with new and fresh ideas to be considered in the new landscape. And so it's just a matter of seeing how we can fit in. And Dacia, she'll talk about her own contributions and plans, but she has a health app. You can tell them about your health app that we plan on integrating into our neighborhood, into our city, and eventually the country.
Well, for the last, how many years has it been? 5 or 6 years, we, launched a healthcare app. And it was specifically to, as we discussed before, to help to educate and support Black Americans with diabetes. And I realized, as we're moving to Ghana and people are asking, well, what's the healthcare like? I really don't have that answer because I'm not on the ground to really, investigate, to really, go to pharmacies, go to hospitals, go to clinic, look at services that they have. I've done a lot of research online already to kind of pinpoint the places, but I actually have to go there myself. And what I realized is that my goal there over the next few months is researching to help to close that gap. So I'll be able to answer those questions like, oh, I have whatever, diabetes. Do they have XYZ medication? How much does it cost? Do they have a doctor that specializes? Do they have an endo? So I want to be able to kind of like bridge that gap between those African Americans who may say, you know, I really can't go there because I need to have access to my doctor or I need to have access to my medication. Is there something there for me? So as we were discussing it on the weekend, I think that that has to be my focus, because I don't want healthcare to be a hindrance to someone coming over. But at the same time, I want to give them the resource and the reassurance. I don't know exactly how that's going to look like, how that's going to look as yet, or in how we're going to present it. But I definitely have to do the research first. And I know it's going to take a little bit of time, but I think that I will be pleasantly surprised just based on what I'm seeing so far. And we definitely have a long-term plan to get these people to feel, these Americans to feel secure and to come over and to show that everything is possible. Anything is possible in Africa, in Ghana. We'll start there first and then beyond, hopefully.
And also, it's amazing when the stars align. So Dacia has a health app, right? Mm-hmm. But we also know that Wi-Fi connection, bandwidth privilege is a real thing. Yeah. And everyone isn't connected to the internet. So on Clubhouse, in one of the rooms that I met you in, a Black innovator, a woman, she made a router. We bought the router, where once we hook the router up, wherever we hook it up, we got it here in New York, but we're not hooking up till we get to Ghana. Okay. It will give free Wi-Fi to people within a 25-mile radius.
Wow.
And so we can now offer the health app for free to people who now have free Wi-Fi access. So, you know, you can have something, but you need help from somewhere else to complete, you know, the plan. And so we're excited about that.
That is very exciting. I definitely want to tap in with you on that as well. But this has been awesome. You guys have, I hope, encouraged our listening audience. I hope that they're really hearing what you guys are sharing and really, you know, looking forward to continuing the conversation. Any last call to actions that you'd like to leave with the audience about the question, why wouldn't life be better in Africa, and to, you know, just how you want to leave anything for people to do or action thereafter?
I guess the one thing I would say, which we're kind of like guilty of, is that, you know, we never looked at Africa as a whole as a place for vacations. You know, we
traveled to the DR for 12 straight years, the DR.
And only to find out that Senegal is 6 hours away and has like beautiful beaches. Like, these are things that we didn't explore and even consider. And I'm almost ashamed that we didn't open our horizons a little bit more. So I guess I would just call to action is just consider it, open your, you know, check out a country in Africa. Everything along the coast has a beach for the most part, you know, and just don't be afraid to take a chance. Don't listen to all the media hype. You know, go to other sources to get your information, because it's not always, most of the time, it's not consistent. I mean, just the things that we've learned about Africa in the past year, you know, I was shocked. I didn't know Rwanda was where it is now. You know, you always have the image in your mind, Rwanda is genocide, and there's nothing else to take up that space. But just in the last years, I've learned about Rwanda. I can't wait to go to Rwanda. You know, I've heard things about Namibia, and then I saw Namibia, said, wow, I can't wait to go to Namibia. So it's just really just open your horizons, really the message. And, you know, don't just take a story from one side. YouTube was kind of like my, I guess, my research, because I learned so much from YouTube. And from there, I was able to expand and look at other sources as well for my information. So I would say just.
Well, the purpose of our channel, Off the Wheel, is to challenge our viewers, our watchers, to at least ask the question.
Yeah.
Yes.
Even if the question says it's not for you, you've conducted the exercise. And the question is, would a life in Africa be ideal for me? And so my takeaways are, ask the question at minimum, then next step, travel to a place in Africa. We say come to Ghana. We actually have options for travelers where in our Airbnbs, we create an atmosphere where you're not traveling on vacation, you're traveling to practice living in Ghana to see if it fits for you. So, so that's one takeaway. And the other big takeaway for us, well, for me, my own selfish takeaway is, I'm working on a big real estate deal. Eventually, it's going to be 100 million plus, and we're going to need all investors on deck to carry this out. And so I'm going to say that the takeaway is, if you want to come practice living, we have options for you. If you want to, maybe you don't ever want to come to Africa and live, but you want to invest in the continent, then stay tuned and stay close to us.
Yes, indeed. Well, all of your contact information and detail will, of course, be in the description of this broadcast. And I love the fact of just being open to the conversation, being open to traveling and all the riches that Ghana and Africa overall has. The stigma that people really kind of attach to them that we've never really changed because we've not explored, so it's like those same things just are probably in the back of my mind that I've seen that people, they're stuck there, but
Yep.
just be open. So great message, and the investment and the bridging of commerce and business, doing good business, as you said, good business. We are going to work hand in hand in creating one Africa. And that means I am a part of the fabric. You are a part of the fabric of what is ours, to have, hold and have, it is there to have. So I hope that more and more people do have the conversation. Anything else more you'd like to share before we part?
Before we hopped on with you,
Yes.
We were just reading about the president of Ghana making a call out to investment.
Yeah.
And we want to say, if anyone's watching and can get us a meeting with the president, I have a lot of ideas I'd like to share with him. So I like to make that shout out to the universe.
Well, I do have my contacts that I do want to introduce you to, and maybe we can make that happen next week. And I'd love to do that because I do believe there's some good collaborations that we can talk about here. So I'm excited because I'm here to do good business as well, and to continue to spotlight people who are interested in bridging that bridge of business and motivated to doing business across the way. So let's continue that, and appreciate you all for joining me today. I've enjoyed the conversation, and hope you have as well.
All right, thank you. And
All
see
right,
you guys on the other side.
All right, awesome. Well, congratulations on your release date. All right, guys, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right, bye-bye. Well, thank you all again for joining me this evening, and my guests, Elle and Dacia. They are off the wheel. You can catch them on YouTube. You can catch them on their website, and all of their contact detail will be attached to this broadcast. So now I just want to take one more minute and share the news that I had from the beginning that I said, and that is that I'd love for you to list your company with us, bcab2blive.com. And with that, you will be one of 10,000, one of 10,000, the first 10,000 beta members will get the platinum, premium platinum status in the platform. And this is a big deal because you will have additional perks of the platform that are very, very special and specific to you. So the dynamicness of what is to come is something to take note. And I'm asking if you would go to bcab2blive.com, list your company with us, and continue to follow. Our new website will debut very, very soon, and all the details will be listed there. So don't check once, check back, and please stay in touch. All right, thank you again for joining me this evening. And I do look forward to bringing more and more spotlights on CEOs who are interested, motivated to doing business globally. I am Pamela with Business Concepts Accelerated, also known as BCA B2B Live. And again, I thank you for watching. Bye-bye.